Hello, welcome to this presentation regarding thesis format and appearance guidelines. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Negar Fazullahi. I have an English training degree in Bachelor, continuing my education in MBA, and currently PhD candidate in Finance. I have spent the past year working in the Institute of Graduate Studies and Research, and now I'm presenting on behalf of the Institute. So right now I'm going to share some tips and rules for formatting English language thesis or dissertation. The thesis and dissertation process begins with the student preparing the document. Each university has some rules for formatting this document. The content of the thesis or dissertation is the responsibility of the student, supervisor, and committee members. However, the formatting must contain some general features, including margins, font size, and page number, in order to have a consistency throughout the whole thesis. So I suspect thesis formatting might be the second most difficult part when writing your master thesis or PhD dissertation. Obviously, the most difficult part is writing the thesis itself. Therefore, we are preparing this presentation to smoother this path for you by sharing some useful skills based on the Institute of Graduate Studies and Research requirements and my own experience. I hope that we will find them as helpful as they are. Other formatting assistants can be found in our website. I hope that you will find them as helpful as they are. Other formatting assistants can be found on our website at www.grad.emu.edu.tr. Under the section of academic issues, select thesis study, defense, and graduation. Then you can find the sample of the thesis formatting, the guidelines, and even one useful formatting presentation. Also, the templates which I'm going to explain in a few seconds are available here. Submit your master thesis or PhD dissertation to the Graduate Institute. However, it must reach the Institute formatting requirements and standards. But more importantly, when is the time for format checking? Prior to your defense, you need to come for format check. We are going to have a look at your thesis as a whole, but more specifically, the time for format checking. Prior to your defense, you need to come for format check, and we are going to look at your thesis as a whole, but more specifically, formatting the first two pages for you, cover page and approval page. You may wonder why. Because on your defense day, your jury members will sign this approval page. That's why we need to make sure that this page is 100% correctly formatted. The good news is we have prepared the templates for these two pages, the cover page and approval page. The benefit of using template is that margins, style, font size, and indentation all are sorted. So you may face a very small difficulties for formatting these two pages. The templates are available in our website under the section of academic issues. Select thesis study, defense, and graduations, and you can see the templates. Based on how many jury members you have and if you have a co-supervisor or not, also whether you are a master student or a PhD student, you can download one template. For instance, if you are a master student having 3 jury members with co-supervisor, you should download this template. On the other hand, if you are a PhD student having 5 jury members without co-supervisor, you should download this template. I will explain how to fill out this template in the coming slides. Now back to our topic. You are on the stage that you came for format check prior to your defense. Now you are ready for your defense. After your defense, make sure you applied all of the correction that your jury members may give you on your defense day. Also, write down your abstract and also, then come for format check. For this stage of format checking, give an adequate amount of time. Be patient and focused, and don't put your work for last days. Consequently, after going through your formatting process, we let you know that you are ready to bind your thesis. If you are a master's student, you should bind your thesis in blue cover. And if you are a PhD student, you should bind your thesis in black cover. This is what your binding must look like. On top, you should write the title of your thesis, then your name, middle name if you have so, and your last name. Then Eastern Mediterranean University, your defense month and year, Gazimagusa, North Cyprus. And this is what your binding may look like in the other dimension. So as the first letter of your first name, the first letter of your first name in capital, then the first letter of your middle name if you have so, again in capital letter, but your full last name, only the first letter in capital letter, the rest in the small letters. Then in the center, you should have the title of your thesis, but like your whole title of your thesis. Then your program, whether you are graduated in MA program, MS program, or PhD program, and the year of your graduations. So after bonding, you need to, on the submission day, you need to submit at least 5 bounded theses, 2 CDs containing your whole thesis in one file, PDF formatted, and 3 forms of thesis, dissertation, duplication, and publication approval forms. So if you go to our website, under the section of academic issues, you may select forms. And under the section of thesis-related forms, you can download thesis, dissertation, duplication, and publication approval forms. And this is what the forms look like. So basically, this form is divided into 3 parts. The first part is like your personal information that you should fill it out. The second part is the information of your thesis or dissertation. The third part, you can this information is between you and your supervisor, so you should go over it with you and your supervisor and select A or B. You cannot select A or B at the same time. If you select A, have your signature here, and if you select B, have your signature here. And don't forget, we need your supervisor's signatures here. All the signatures must be in wet signatures. And we need 3 of these forms on the submission day. I would like to inform you that we are only accepting hard copies for format checking. So no flashcards, no flashes, memory cards, or emails are accepted. The reason behind is that when you are transferring Microsoft Word from one computer to the other computer, the formatting might definitely change. And also, there are some problems that cannot be observed on the digital copies. Additionally, using the same PC or laptop for your whole process of format checking is highly recommended. Your thesis must contain some general features. For example, choose A4 paper. Even when you are going to print out your thesis, make sure that the printing device is set up as A4 paper and print your thesis as actual size. Generally, it's better to select one copy center and to print out your thesis during all your formatting and submission process. The other thing is copies must be in good qualities, obtained from laser printer, black ink, and one-sided printing is acceptable. The goal in format checking is having consistency, whether in your style, font size, and in your language. The style that we are accepted is Times New Roman, and the font size is 12 pt. And so you should have the consistency throughout your whole thesis. Furthermore, make sure that your only guide to go through format checking is the sample in our website and not the other previous approved thesis. Technically, it's better to start like this. In Microsoft Word, in page layout palette, under the section of page setup, choose your paper as A4 and set up your margins. The top, bottom, and right-hand side margin should be set up as 2.5 centimeter. However, the left-hand side margin should be set up at 4 centimeters. So, in your document, the top margin, right-hand side margin, and bottom margin is 2.5 centimeters, which is equal to 0.98 inches. However, the left-hand side margin is 4 centimeters, which is equal to 1.58 inches, in order to allow for binding. For line spacing refers to the vertical distance between two lines within a paragraph. For line spacing, throughout your whole thesis, it should be 0 and double. But what do I mean by 0 and double? 0 and double, it means that in Microsoft Word, in home palettes under the section of paragraph, set before as 0, after as 0, and double line spacing. This is what we call 0 and double. And don't forget about the alignment of your text, that it should be justified. So line spacing through your whole thesis should be 0 and double. But how about paragraph spacing? Paragraph spacing refers to the vertical distance between two paragraphs. For paragraph spacing, you have two options in your hands. Whether set it as 24 and double without indentation, or set it as 0 and double with indentation. So if you're going to set your document as 24 and double without indentation, again in Microsoft Word, in home palette under the section of paragraph, you should set before as 0, after as 24, and double line spacing. This is what we call as 24 and double, and the alignment again is justified. As you see that here, the first line of each paragraph is not indented, so the distance between two paragraphs is 24 and double, and it's without indentation. Let's focus on the other option. The other option that you have for paragraph spacing is 0 and double. So you may set before as 0, after as 0, and double line spacing. But the thing is, you should indent the first line of each paragraph. Let's say approximately by 5 spaces. Keep in your mind that if you are choosing 24 and double without indentation, you should continue with this style throughout your whole thesis. On the other hand, if you are choosing 0 and double with indentation, keep this style throughout your whole thesis. Now you are familiar with basic features of format checking. Let's see how it will be in practice. This is the template of the first page of your thesis, which is called cover page. We highly recommend you to use templates which are available on our website, because these Microsoft Word documents are pre-formatted with Institute of Graduate Studies and Research requirements. In these templates, only the gray parts can fill out by you. You cannot change the black parts. These parts are locked, and that's the prettiness of using the templates. So on top, you should type your thesis title, then type your full name. It's like name, middle name if you have so, and your last name. Then you can choose you cannot change this black part. Then choose your degree, choose an item which is of and or in, and your program name, and here is your defense date. Now let's go in more details in this of these templates. So after using the templates, your cover page must look like this. On top we have the title of the thesis. If you are using the templates, this line spacing which should be 0 and single, it's already modified for you. And also font size is 18. And also font size is 18, bold and center. And if you're using a template, you don't have any problem regarding line spacing and 18, bold and center because it's pre-formatted for you. Your name, and you should write your name and surname in 16, bold and center. Again, by using the template, there is no problem regarding that. These 3 lines, which call submission statement, submitted to the Institute of Graduate Studies and Research in partial fulfillment of the requirements for the degree of, is fixed throughout your whole master thesis or PhD dissertation, is 14 center, and line spacing is 0 and single. For this part, you may have your major, for example, Master of Science in Banking and Finance, or whatever your major is, and it's 14 center and 0 and single. And this part is the name of the university, your defense state, Gazimagusa, North Cyprus, and again is 14 center, and line spacing is 0 and single. As you see that there is no page number for this page. When we are using the templates, let's go back to the templates. When we are using the template and you may type the title of your thesis on top, you don't have any problem regarding the line spacing or font size. The only things that you should pay attention is the capital and the small letter. Let me give you some examples. For example, if the title of your thesis is Financial Innovation in Europe and Asia, a Comparative Study, you should start the first letter of each word in capital letters and the rest in small letters. But some prepositions, all prepositions, in, into, of, on, under, or and, these words should stay all in small letters. So in this example, in and are in small letters, but the rest of the words, we are starting each letter, the first letter of each word in capital letter. Let's look at another example. The impact of credit default swap on the UK and the US bond markets. Again, in this example, we are typing the first letter of each word in capital, but the words like of, on, the, and we are keeping them in small letters. In the third example, a review into the strategic role of the finance department. Again, we're starting the first letter of each word in capital letters, but the words like into, the, of, the are staying in small letters. So whenever you are using the templates, pay attention to these capital and small things. For your name and surname, again, you should start the first letter of your name in capital, the first letter of your middle name, if you have so, in capital, and the first letter of your surname in capital. We cannot change these black parts. Choose your degree. Here, whether based on the degree that you are going to graduate, you study, you can choose, for example, Master of Science in Civil Engineering, or Master of Arts in International Relations, Master of Arts in English Language Teaching, or if you are a PhD student, Doctor of Philosophy in Finance. So choose your degree, it means that Master of. Choose an item, is this in between, and program name is like civil engineering, finance, international relation. So for all the majors, we will select in. The only exception here we have is for MBA students. For MBA student, they may select only master on top, and instead of in, they select of, and for the major, business administration. So in any other cases except MBA student, you should select in. For the MBA students, you should select of. So Master of Business Administration. So, and this is like your defense date. For example, here If you are going to have your defense in July, you may write July 2018. So you can fill out the templates like this. Right now the cover page is finished. Let's move on to the second page of your thesis. This is the template of the second page of your thesis, which is called approval page or signature page. Again, as you see that the top part is black, it means that you cannot change, you cannot do any changes on the top part. Look at here, degree in program name. Again, when you select your degree in your cover page in this part, when you select your degree in your cover page in this part in your approval page will automatic. Okay, when you select your degree in cover page in your cover page, this part in your approval page will be set up for you. So this gray part will be set up for you. So you didn't need to put it by your hands. It will be set up for you by setting the cover page. The only thing is you should fill out this part. Here is the name of the chair of your department with her or his title. And here, or the name of the dean of your faculty with his or her title. On the second line, you should choose your department. For example, chair, Department of Banking and Finance, or dean, Faculty of Tourism. For choose an item, if your department chair is acting, you should select acting. Otherwise, there is a blank thing that you should select that blank one. Yes, so pay attention that if the chair of your department or dean of your faculty is fixed, you shouldn't go for acting. You should select a blank part. And here is the name of your supervisor with his or her title. In case that you have a co-supervisor, there will be another line here shown for you for writing the name of your co-supervisor. And here are your committee members. In order to know how to organize the committee members, we have a rule for that. So this is overall what the signature page or approval page may look like. As I told you, this part is fixed. You cannot change this part. Master of Science in Banking and Finance, as you set in your cover page, your degree, this part will be set automatically for you. This is like chair, Department of Banking and Finance, the name of the chair of the Department of your Banking and Finance. And this is the name of your supervisor and your co-supervisor. For organizing the committee members, we have a specific rule for that. Whenever we are going to sort out them, we are going to sort out based on the title. It means that at first Professor Doctor, following that Associate Professor Doctor, and after that Assist Professor Doctor. So it doesn't matter for us which one is our supervisor. So whenever we want to sort them out, we are going to sort them out based on the title at first. But in case if we have like the same title, for example, 2 Professor Doctor or 2 Associate Professor Doctor, or let's say 3 Assist Professor Doctor, what should we do? In this case, again, we are sorting them out based on the title at first. So let's focus on the second example. We have 2 Professor Doctor. We have 3 Professor Doctor. So we have the same title. So we should go, in this case, we should go for the alphabetic order of the last name. In this case, it will go for A, B, and then J. So let's look at the third example. In this example, we have Professor, Doctor, and Assistant. At first, we sort them out based on the title. So the first one and the second one going to be Professor, Doctor, and the third one is Assist Professor, Doctor. But for the Professor Doctor, we should sort them out because we have the same title based on the alphabetic order of their last name. As you you see that the first letter in both cases is B. So we will go for the second letter. The second letter is E. Again, it's the same, so it doesn't matter. We will go for the third letter. The third letter is K and then S. So we have this one on top. After that, the other professor, doctor. In case of if we have the same title and if the last name is fully the same. For example, there are two professor doctor who are coupled, they have exactly the same last name. There is an exception for that we can go for the alphabetic order of the first name. But in any other cases, at first we are going to sort them out based on the title, and in case of the same title, we are going to sort them out based on the alphabetic order of the last name. And pay attention that when you are writing assist, it should be like ASST instead of ASSIST. So you will fill out in the template, you will fill out committee members here. As you see that again, like cover page, approval page, it didn't have any page number. Okay, you should format these two pages, cover page and approval page, before your defense by using templates. Then come to the Graduate Institute. We are going to have a look at these two pages and we are going to approve these two pages for you before your defense. Then you will go for your defense and let's say it's after your defense. This is what your thesis may start if you are writing English thesis. The third page is your abstract. I'm telling the third page because cover page and signature page, although they didn't have any page number, but we are counting them as the pages of our thesis. So cover page is implicitly page 1, approval page is implicitly page 2. That's why always and always we are starting abstract at page number 3. Pay attention that whenever you are writing your thesis, the style for your font is Times New Roman and the font size is 12 pt. And this is not exception for your page number. Even for your page number, the style must be Times New Roman and it should be 12 pt. The other thing that is worth to mention is that your page number must be within the lower margin. So because the lower margin is 2.5 centimeter, so the page numbering must be between the lower margin. And the other thing is for this part of the thesis, let's say abstract, O's, and I will tell you from until introduction, you should use a small numeric numbers. As you see, we are using 3 like this. Let's focus on the abstract itself. The abstract itself as a header should be 16 bold center and all in capital. And from the header to the first line or first paragraph should be 24 and double. 24 and double, it means before is 0, after is 24 and double line spacing. In this case, the student is using 24 and double for the paragraph spacing. That's why the first line is not indented. But you can use 0 and double and indent the first line. It doesn't matter. In this case, the student is using 24 and double, so he or she should continue 24 and double throughout his or her whole thesis. The only thing is, from your last line or your last paragraph to the keywords, in any cases, if you are using 24 and double or even 0 and double, from your last line to keywords should be 24 and double spacing. So you may leave 24 and double, then write down your keywords. You may write down, then whenever you are writing down your keywords, you should write it down in bold. And pay attention that keywords is only one word. You cannot write key with one space word. So it's one word called keywords and it should be bold. And your abstract can be between 250 to 350 words. The other part is called Oz. Oz is the exact translation of the abstract. Oz as a header, like abstract, is 16 bold center and all in capital. And from the header to the first line, it has 24 and double. In this case, the paragraph spacing is set as 24 and double. Pay attention that whatever your paragraph spacing is, whether it is 24 and double or 0 and double, from your last line to anahtar kelimeler, it should be 24 and double spacing. In this case, anahtar kelimeler, we are writing it as bold, but we have a space in between. Let's move on. Dedication. Again, dedication, like the other headers, is 16 bold center, all in capital. But the thing is, having dedication as a title is optional. So you can have a blank page without any header, but still your dedication with page number. And we don't have like 24 and double rule from dedication to the first line. In this case, the dedication is to my family. You can write down this to my family in the middle of the page, or right a line, left a line, whatever places as you wish. Next part is acknowledgement. Again, acknowledgement as a header is 16 bold center and all in capital letters. And from the header to the first line, should be 24 and double. Table of contents. Table of contents as a header, again, it's 16 bold center and all in capital letters. And from the header to the first line is 24 and double. As you see that in table of contents is divided into two parts. The first parts are titled like abstract, oath, dedication, acknowledgement, preface if you have so, list of tables, list of figures, list of illustration, list of symbols, or list of abbreviation. As you see that for these headers, we are writing them all in capital letters. The other thing is, for numbering them, we are using small numeral numbers for them, like 3, 4, 5. But from introduction, from your first chapter, whatever your first chapter title is, we will start at page number 1. So always and always, your chapter 1 will start at page number 1. And always and always, your abstract will start at page number 3. Okay, for the first chapter, we are writing one space, and the title of the first chapter, whatever it is, should be right all in capital letters. Again, let's move on to the second chapter. We are writing 2, 1 space, and the title of your second chapter, whatever it is, should write in all capital letters. For instance, if your chapter 3 title is methodology, we are writing is as 3, 1 space methodology, but all in capital letters. If in one chapter you have subsection, as we have in chapter 1, 1.1 is a subsection in chapter 1, you are going to indent it. Again, if you have a subsection of subsection, which is 1.1.1, you should going to indent it more. The other thing is, pay attention for this subsection. We are starting the first letter of each word in capital letters. But as I told you, the same formatting for the title, the prepositions of, in, on, we are letting them in all small letters. Again, in chapter 2, we have a subsection 2.1, so we are going to indent it, and 2.2, the same indentation that we use for 2.1 because it has 2 digits, so it's going to be same indentation as even 1.1. So the indentation are changing based on how many digits you have. So you may continue like this for the rest of the chapters of your thesis. Okay, let's say methodology, empirical results to the end, and you may come to references. For references, we didn't put any number before that. So, and we are writing all in capital letters. And Then you will have your appendix or appendices. Based on how many appendix you have, you may write appendix if you have only one appendix, or if you have more than one appendix, you should write appendices. Then you should title your appendix here, appendix A, B, C, D, and continue. And you will have index. The thing is, the very important thing in this page is that line spacing from abstract to O's, from O's to dedication, from dedication to acknowledgement, throughout your last sentence, the line spacing is all 0 and double. So we have 0 and double line spacing. And everything, even from the right hand side and left hand side, are all justified. Let's focus on the example. In this case, chapter 1, the title is Introduction. We are going to write it all in capital letter. And because it's chapter 1, it should start at page number 1. We have one subsection. So we are going to indent this subsection. Again, we have another subsection. We are going to indent more this subsection. And as you see, line spacing is not changing and we are keeping 0 and double. Okay. One space introduction, all in capital. We have one subsection 1.1. For 1.1, the indentation can be 0.3 centimeters. Again, we have another subsection. It's 1.1.1. For in this case, because it's like the subsection of the previous subsection and it's like more than 2 digits, so we are going to indent it more, let's say by 0.9 centimeter on left. For this one, these are the same, they are having the 3 digits, so these are the same. So indentation for 1.1.1 and 1.1.2 gonna be the same. Both should be indented, let's say by 0.9 centimeters. Look at this one, 1.2. Again, 1.2 and 1.1 are the same regarding the indentation. They are like subsection, they are both subsection within chapter 1 with 2 digits. So we are going to indent it at 0.3 centimeters. Look at here, 1.2.1. Again, this part, it has 3 digits, is a subsection of subsection. It's going to be the same as all the purple ones, so it's going to be 0.9 centimeters. But we face to the situation that we have another subsection. It's 1.2.1.1. So in this case, we should indent it more, let's say by 1.80 centimeters. So this is what your table of contents must look like. So whenever you have a subsection, you should indent it, and subsection of subsection, you should indent it more. Let's move on. List of tables. If you have only one table, you should title it list of tables. If you have more than one table, again list of tables. So list of tables as a header will be written in plural form, and as a header it's 16 bold, center, and all in capital. Again, from the header to the first line is like 24 and double. And line spacing throughout your whole list of table is 0 and double. But for list of tables and list of figures, for numbering them, you have 2 options in your hand. Whether numbering them like table 1 space 1 column and like table 1, 2, 3 and continue like this, or you can numbering them based on the chapter that they appeared in your thesis. For example, let's say table 1.1. In this case, table 1.1, it means first table in the first chapter. Table 2.1, it means first table in the second chapter. So if you are going to number in your table, you should write table, T in capital, then 1 space 1, then you can have column or dot, it doesn't matter. And in this case, again, table, T in capital, 1 space 1.1, after that immediately 1 column or dots. For the list of figures, we are going to apply the same procedures. List of figures, again, as a header, should be 16, bold, center, and all in capital. And from list of figures to the first line is 24 and double. And again, it doesn't matter if you have one figure or more than one figure. We are going to use list of figure in plural forms and adding s here. For a list of figures, again, you can numbering them based on figure 1, 2, 3, 4, or based on the chapters that they appeared. Again, the same procedures, you can use column or dots, but pay attention that you cannot combine column and dots. For example, if you are using figure 1, after that column, you should continue like column, and if you are using dot, you should continue with dots. And please don't write figure like F-I-G. You should write figure completely. Here I provided some example for you. For a list of tables, again from the header to the first line is 24 and double. Here in this case, the students are numbering the table like table 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it doesn't matter for him or her that this table is appeared in which chapters. So he or she are just counting the table from 1 to 8. As I told you, the line spacing should be 0 and double, and as you see that from right hand side and left hand side, everything is justified. In this case, the students prefer to list the tables based on the chapters that they appeared. For example, table 1.1, it means first table in the first chapter. Table 2.1, it means first table in the second chapter. 2.2, second table in the second chapter. Third table in the second chapter. Fourth table in the second chapter. Now we move on chapter 3. So first table in the third chapter. Second table in the third chapter, and as you see that there is no table in chapter 4, and we have one table in chapter 5. List of abbreviations. List of abbreviations as a header should be 16, bold, center, and all in capital. And like the other headers, from the header to the first line should be 24 and double. Again, line spacing between these abbreviations should be 0 and double. The point that is mentioned, that is worth to mention here, is that the ordering should be in alphabetic order from A to Z. And the other thing is, from the abbreviated words to the full version of words, it should be approximately 2 tabs. And you are going to sort them, exactly in one column, the full version, and exactly in one column, the abbreviated ones. So this part, until here, the first part of your thesis are finished. From here, your first chapter is started. Chapter 1. We have formatting for writing chapters. Whether it is chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever your chapter is. C must be in capital letter. The rest of the letters should be in small letters. We will have one space and write 1. Then from chapter 1 or chapter 2, 3, whatever it is, to the title of the chapter should be 24 and double spacing. The title of the chapter should be 16, bold, center, and all in capital letters. And from the title of the chapter to the first line, here we have a title, again title, or we can have a paragraph here. Whatever it is, the spacing should be 48 and double. Look at the titles that we have here. The titles in our thesis with numbering before. It means that we have this title in our table of contents. So they are bold. So their title, they are bold. But the thing is, if the title are with 2 digits, it should be 14 digit for 14 pt. If the titles are with more than 2 digits, let's say 3 digit or 4 digits, is the font size should be 12 pt. And if you look at the line spacing, from the title to the first line or within a paragraph, the line spacing are all 0 and double. Only the paragraph spacing is 24 and double. In this case, we have a title in the middle of two paragraphs. Again, we have 24 and double before and 24 and double after, because as we are titling something with the numbering, it's obvious that is like the distinction is obvious. That's why we put like 0 and double before. But there is one exception. If you have a titling without numbering, in this case, before must set as 24 and double, but after again is 0 and double. The other thing is, as you see that this page is justified, whatever you are writing in your thesis, whether it is in your first part, table of contents, list of tables, or in this part that you are going to write the body of your thesis, all should be justified. And always start your chapter 1 at page number 1. So you may continue exactly the same thing for your chapter 2, 3, 4. For example, if your chapter 4 title is empirical results, we're gonna have chapter 4, then 24 and double, empirical results, all in capital letters, then 48 and double, and then the first line. Let's see the formatting of one quotation. If you have a quotation, you should select the quotation in order to see how many words it has. If the quotation has less than 40 words, you may keep the quotation inside your paragraph with the quotation marks. But if your quotation exceeds 40 words, you should extract the quotation and write down in a new paragraph. The thing is, in this paragraph, the line spacing is 0 and single, and you should indent in this paragraph by, let's say, 1.5 centimeter on the left without quotation mark. But from the last sentence to the first sentence of the quotation, it should be 0 and double. If you have the other quotation following and they are related to each other, we should have 0 and double in between. But if you have like the other quotation or other paragraphs, which is the new paragraph, you should have 24 and double after the quotation. Don't forget to, if your quotation exceeds 40 words, to extract the quotation and make indentation with 0 and single line spacing. So this is like the formatting of the quotation. For figures and tables, whenever you have the figures, you should caption the figures exactly under the figure and very close to the figure. So the distance between the figure and this caption is 0 and single, and the caption must be Times New Roman 12 pt below the figure and in the center of the figure, and it shouldn't be bold. Whenever you have a figure or table, before figure or table and after figure or table, you should leave some space, and the space is 24 and double. But in this example, as we start the figure on top of the page, the only thing that we left on top is our top margins, which is 2.5 centimeters, and the figure is starting exactly right after the top margin. So in this case, we are only letting this 24 and double after the figure. Let's see one table. Whenever you want to title the title of the table, again, it should be Times New Roman 12 pt on top of the table and left a line. Again, whenever you have a table or figure, before should be 24 and double and after should be 24 and double. And it doesn't matter for us whether after the figure or table we have a paragraph, it should be 24 and double. Or if you have another table, again it should be 24 and double. Or if you have like table and figure, again in between should be 24 and double. So this 24 and double is fixed before and after the table or figure. And don't title the table in bold. I put this example here because I'm trying to show that if the caption of your figure or the title of your table comes in two lines, what should you do? Again, we are facing a figure or table, so we put 24 and double before and after. But how about the caption of the figure? As you see that it comes in two lines. Whenever the caption of the figure or title of the table comes in two lines, the line spacing between these two lines should be 0 and single. So you may move on throughout your thesis. In any case that you want to insert a horizontal page in your thesis, the thing is, this horizontal page, whether you have a table in it, figure in it, or analysis, whatever it is, it should be within the margin. So 2.5 centimeter on top, we have the same margins, 2.5 centimeter on right hand side, 2.5 centimeter on the bottom, and 4 centimeter on the left hand side. So in the horizontal pages, it should be within the margin, but without page number. Again, we are going to count them as one of the pages of our thesis, but the page number are not appeared here. Now your thesis is finished. You are ready to write your references. References as a header should be 16 bold, center, and all in capital. And from the references to the first line is 24 and double. For the references, you have two styles in your hands. Style 1 with numbering. The second style, which is style 2 without numbering. If you are going to choose style 1 with numbering, it means that you are numbering your references. You are counting your references like 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one is based on the appearance on the text. It means that this reference is the first reference which is appeared in our text. That's why we call it 1. And this reference is the second reference which is appeared in our text. That's why we call it 2. But so in style 1 with numbering, we are numbering them based on the appearance inside the thesis. And the other thing is, as you see that you should write 1 in brackets, then we will have 1 space, then all the lines are starting in 1 column. Again 2 in bracket, 1 space, and again all the lines are starting in 1 column. The line spacing throughout one references is 0 and double, but between two references is 24 and double. Again, 1 space, 0 and double, but between two references, 24 and double. Let's focus on style number 2. As you see that in style number 2, there is no numbering, so we are going to sort them out based on the alphabetic order, so from A to Z. But the thing is, the first line is without indentation, but the second line and third line, not the first line, the second line and third line, we are going to indent it by 1 tap, or let's say 1.27 centimeters. Again, line spacing through one references is 0 and double, but between two references is 24 and double. In both cases, references are justified from right-hand side and left-hand side, and again justified from right-hand side and left-hand side. For the content of the references, you can choose APA style, Chicago style, IEEE. This is something between you and your supervisor. But the thing is, if you're going to choose like APA style, continue with APA style for every single references that you are going to write in your thesis. If you are willing to use IEEE style, so continue with IEEE style for every single references that you have, and don't mix a style with numbering and a style without numbering in your thesis. For the appendix or appendices as a header, again, it should be 16 bold and all in capital. Try to put this one in the blank page with page number approximately in the middle of the page. If you have one appendix, you should write only appendix. If you have more than one appendix, you use the plural form, which is appendices. For the appendix, title the appendix on the left alignment with 14, PT, and bold. For the appendixes, we are not doing the format check inside the appendix. As far as your appendix is within our margin, it's going to be acceptable for us. And don't forget that it should have page number. Okay. Last but not least, I would like to inform you that you are not alone in the process of format checking. You are always welcome to come to the Institute and ask your questions. Finally, on behalf of the Institute, I truly appreciate your time and patience and wish you success in your academic career and your life.